It's 2022, and playing tabletop role-playing games like D&D and Made RPG remotely has become more normal than playing in person for many of us. A year and a half ago, I did a rundown of virtual tabletops, which allow us to play our favorite tater pigs with extra bells and whistles. But that video only covered 6 of them! In this update, let's cover over 3 times as many! That's right, this video will be a quick overview of 21 released and upcoming VTTs, quickly covering what makes them unique and possibly worth your time. Remember, in the end, there is no best or worst VTT, only the ones that have features that work best for you or the specific games you're playing. Let's go! Discord or Zoom. These two barely get to qualify, but they are great to use with other VTTs, and frankly, with the features they have, they'll work in a pinch. They both have easy-to-access free video chat with the ability to screen share, so putting up a battle map in MS Paint is no problem. Zoom even has shared whiteboards, which is a step up, but oddly, despite its integration of apps, doesn't have any additional TitterPig functionality, which is kind of embarrassing. Discord has mods you can add that allow all kinds of customizable dice rolling, connection with D&D Beyond, and music bots like Kenku FM that let you add music from your PC right to your audio chat, which I love. In the end, these can work fine for theater of the mind gaming, but can fall a little short for the full virtual tabletop experience, so they're best used as a supplement for the rest of the VTTs we're about to cover. MapTools. MapTools might be older than some of the people watching this video. It's seriously over a decade old and still receiving support. Does it look that old? You bet. Looks like it's a few steps above Minesweeper. God, do people even still know what that is? Oh my god. But it is still surprisingly functional. Track initiative, movement is old like this, build maps within it, roll dice, make tables. For a free program that can run on a potato, it might look kind of blah, but it isn't a bad choice. Still, without character sheets and other cool integrations, it's mostly just there for battle maps. However, its sister program TokenTool is such a must-have, I'm going to include it in this video. It has so many built-in options for making quick, gorgeous tokens, and everything is drag-and-drop friendly. Look at this! Look how fast! Drag the character image in, scroll and drag to size, drag the token out, and it maintains the image name. If there is any program I think every battle map user needs, it is this one. Owlbear.Rodeo. This VTT is the epitome of ease of use. It's a quick browser-based VTT that is all about quickly making maps, moving tokens, and getting into the game. It's got dice to grab and toss, stores all your tokens and maps in your browser cache, some music sharing that might work right now, I don't know. If you're just looking for a quick way to run battles, Owlbear is extremely simple and fast to get going. But that is all it is. If you're looking for character sheets, built-in chat, or any other functionality, it's going to be lacking. I should also mention that when this video released, the open beta for their updated Owlbear.Rodeo 2 is live, which looks to be taking everything they are already doing and just refining it, but not adding a ton of extras, which is fine. Simplicity is what makes Owlbear shine. It might not do everything, but what it does exceedingly well. Dungeon Club. It's Owlbear.Rodeo, but with a couple less features, but a little more structure. Sticky notes, dragging and dropping whatever you want, drawing, all of that is gone. But built-in condition markers for tokens, built-in ambient sound, and a slightly better way to organize scenes all makes this a little easier for some GMs to manage. Aside from that, it lacks pretty much everything else that Owlbear lacks. Fari. If you're the type of organized GM who likes index cards, you'll love Fari. You build scenes with layered index cards that can be shared or hidden from players, given numbers, slot trackers, images, all kinds of stuff. What's more, this is our first VTT that not only has many built-in character sheets, but the ability to custom build character sheets for whatever game you're playing. Beyond that, there's a minimalist whiteboard-style map that you can drag some tokens onto and just run with. It's free, customizable, and so very, very organized. This is theater of the mind at its pinnacle. Roll. If you want to ditch Discord or Zoom, have I got the solution for you. Not only does Roll have video chat, but really good video chat. What's more, it has one of the most robust, customizable character sheet creators on this list, though the sheets are only on a sidebar, so if it's going to be a big character sheet, you're going to be doing a lot of scrolling. I pray eventually they add some way to condense this stuff, because these buttons do not need to take up this much space. There is a map function, though it is a little clunky, and frankly Owlbear feels so much faster and more intuitive, but it does work, and it allows you to share PDFs and other files with your players. So if you just want sheets and chat at the forefront of your gaming, this is pretty much all Roll has going for it. It might not have a whole bunch of bells and whistles, but for a lot of games, I love it. Roll20. It's maybe the most popular VTT on this list. It does tokens, music, notes and journals, character sheets, video chat, battle maps with wall token-based vision and dynamic lighting, all for so many official and unofficially supported systems. And most of these things are free and work pretty well. I will say Roll20 is definitely starting to show its age a little bit. The video chat has improved over the years, but still isn't great. The whisper video chat to individual players rules, and the fact that all other VTTs with video chat don't have it is bonkers to me. Fantasy Grounds, the Unity? I can't remember. Fantasy Grounds Unity. This is another classic and might be one of Roll20's biggest rivals. It has a notably higher price tag than any other on the list, but it also has a lot of official support for many titterpigs. For those games, it works well, even if parts of it definitely look dated and it still has no video chat. And if you want to venture outside of the mainstream titterpigs, the experience can vary from pretty good to there's just a lack of customization and versatility in some areas, but for the most part, it's extremely functional with some nice automation, especially for bigger titles like D&D and Pathfinder. Seriously, Pathfinder players, FGU will make your life so much better. So long as you don't mind paying a little bit more for the specific games and all that, it is a solid investment, but it can be just a little restrictive for some of us. FoundryVTT. Foundry is kind of like Roll20 2.0, but don't think that means it's necessarily the better choice for you. It does almost everything Roll20 does, even the video chat that works 80% of the time, though still no whisper chat. However, you get all of the features of Foundry in a one-time purchase, no monthly subscriptions required for the fancy stuff. And Foundry has lots of community mod and system support, letting you add a frankly staggering amount of functionality and customization to the system. It is easily the most robust VTT on this list by a long shot. However, it has a bit more of a learning curve, is hosted off your computer unless you host it on a server that requires a small monthly subscription, and all of those add-ons and systems being community made means that an update to Foundry might make some of your mods incompatible with your current version of Foundry until the creators update them, assuming they ever do. Still, despite this, if you want a VTT that does it all, Foundry is my go-to for running bigger campaigns. Questline. This VTT has some specialized functions that you might enjoy. First, customizable character sheets, the ability to make custom one-click actions with dice rolls and all, and a pretty robust dice roller. What's more, it tracks movements and actions in a way that really makes this VTT a solid option for running combat out of a session. If you have an encounter, people can pop in and do their thing whenever they're able to. It's like playing chess with a pen pal. That's something people still know about, right? Like, I think you could do that with a lot of VTTs technically, but the previous move a player made is shown on Questline, and that kind of gives it a leg up. However, all of this comes with the requirement of a monthly subscription for the GM and for players if they want to join more than one game. Also, being that it's in beta, there are definite rough edges, and the interface is kind of unintuitive. Still, it shows some promise. Alright, let's do a few for the D&D 5e crowd, huh? And don't worry, my fellow non-D&D friends, just skip to this time code to skip these if you want. Shard. Shard is a robust tabletop that's partnered with all kinds of third-party 5e creators, so if you like that kind of content, this is a treasure trove. Also, being built specifically for 5e, everything from the layout to the dice functions are all built with this popular system in mind. Maps are quick and easy to incorporate, making encounters is beautifully organized, and the character sheets are lovely. It's great, unless you've already invested your money in getting all of your content on D&D Beyond or physical books, and you just want to play with all that official goodness. You really are kind of tying yourself to third-party offerings with Shard, but it has a lot of them. If you want official, then you might want to use AboveVTT. This virtual tabletop is an interesting beast as it's a Chrome and Firefox extension that you run on your browser that lets you use D&D Beyond's website as your VTT. If you've been using Beyond for your characters and stuff, you can use those exact sheets and even your D&D Beyond digital dice with other people. Holy crap, the digital dice actually matter. Adding maps is as easy as adding a URL link. Every monster you have in Beyond is there with automated clickable abilities in their stat blocks. And it even has built-in video chat if you want. It's not very good, but it works. Now, it is still early access, and a restart is needed every now and again, but they have been patching it regularly. The one thing I'll need to address is this isn't official, and especially with WotC buying D&D Beyond, there is no guarantee that Beyond won't eventually block AboveVTT. Now, it hasn't been an issue for well over a year, but it is something that you may want to consider. Alchemy RPG. Now this one is primarily D&D 5e at the time of writing this, but that could absolutely change as it is still in the earliest stages of early access, and frankly, I hope it does because for certain games, this could easily become my go-to VTT. The interface is so sleek and beautiful, it stuns me. Look how you can organize actions, the party, handouts, all on a backdrop that isn't cluttered with buttons and aged aesthetics. What's more, they already have integrated voice chat, and their site talks about a streaming mode and shows video chat, but on their Discord they said video chat isn't being actively developed, so I don't know what that means, but the picture looks cool, huh? Now, a battle map function is being worked on, but this VTT just screams theater of the mind games to me. Please let me play Thirsty Sword Lesbians in Alchemy RPG, please! But hey, their market is already up and selling a few things now, so hopefully we'll see more from them soon, and like I said, with the way that this looks, it could eventually become the streamer's best friend as far as VTTs are concerned. Now for 3D VTTs! TaleSpire. TaleSpire has been a big hit since it launched open early access over a year ago. Its 3D maps really bring in the feel of playing with miniatures on the best-made tabletop terrain. And now that you can buy and import Hero Forge miniatures, a lot of people are in love. But I will throw in some caveats. First, no integrated character sheets or game mechanics, just dice and some stats, which can be enough for some people. Also, after a year, there's still not the widest variety of stuff to make maps with, aside from the standard fantasy fare, with cyberpunk stuff. With it what, Klaus? Having been released like a week or so after you wrote this script so you look like a dummy? Ugh. Also, while importing maps other people have made is so quick and easy it's hard to believe, making your own large-scale maps can be a pretty time-consuming and frustrating endeavor. Not a time commitment every GM will want to make, nor a purchase every player will want to make. Still, it's a lot of fun. RPG Engine. 3D is cool, but be gone, tiles! I want to make maps as detailed as TaleSpire, but with slopes, and some built-in music, and aw dang, there's the sci-fi stuff! Lasers and missiles, plus we've got running animations, lots of customizability for character creation, and loading in your own stuff. Bells and whistles TaleSpire doesn't have, but it is also still very much a work in progress. When you take away tile-based everything, things get complicated. Plus, the menus in this allow for a lot of control, but they're also kind of unintuitive and confusing. Maybe it's just me. Also, GMs only pay $20 and players can just use the free demo version right now, so it's not that expensive. Game Master Engine. Okay, let's go in the other direction from TaleSpire. Instead of making things less flat and tile-based, let's make it more flat and tile-based. Now, it is more tile-based, with 5 layers you can build on to make multi-level dungeons pretty easily. No worry about lining up heights on this one, so it's a lot easier than TaleSpire in that regard. It's not quite as pretty, but it does have a number of tools to customize stuff, journal entries for spell attacks and notes, plus health and status conditions on miniatures. It is also in early access, so those edges are rough. Tabletop Simulator. Alright, last time I wasn't very generous with TTS, so I'll be a bit nicer. This is a really customizable way to have a fully 3D tabletop. You can accomplish some great stuff with lighting and all that, plus hey, VR support! With the Community Workshop on Steam, you can get so many miniatures and mods to help run the game. A lot of folks swear by this, and I can admit it is a lot of fun, but for me and many others, the learning curve and setup time for GMs can be a huge barrier to entry. Now, there are easier ways to make maps, but when you do that, I question why I'm even using Tabletop Simulator at that point. Plus, while the simulation of a table can be a lot of fun, it lacks the functionality of many other VTTs. Still, if that stuff doesn't matter to your game, this can be a really fun option for your group. Tableplop. Alright, back to 2D. Tableplop is free, has a pretty robust interface, and some wonderful controls for the GM. Direct where the players are looking, quickly look at the major stats of everyone in a scene, and customize your character sheets. Well, so long as they're really close to D&D or Pathfinder. Right now, the sheet customization doesn't comfortably stretch much beyond that, and the interface can be a little cluttered at times, but still, it has a lot of potential, and I love the options it has and how readily it displays information for folks. Vorpal Board. Alright, this is a weird one. Let's say you want to play remotely, but still use the actual physical terrain that you have. Well, Vorpal Board uses a webcam and some software to make that experience better for everyone. Now, this is for board games too, but you can see how this would work for Titterpigs. Digital dice and all kinds of functions in its mobile-friendly UI. If you still play in person a lot and like to invest in physical terrain, this is a great way to still be able to use that stuff remotely. If not, this is not the best option. Let's roll! That's fun to say. It does a lot of what we've already seen. Battle maps, character sheets, ooh, a shared YouTube player for music? Now, I like that. Plus, I love how the dice rolls come up for people to see. Now, unlike Foundry or Roll20, we're working without fancier features like dynamic lighting, token line of sight, stuff like that. It has a lot fewer features, but the ones they do have work really well. They don't have quite as many systems to choose from as those others, but they let you create your own systems if you're smarter than me. A lot of you probably are. The editor's a little confusing, as it's kind of playing the lines of simple custom character sheet builders like on Fari or Roll that anyone could figure out pretty easily, and the ones where you need to know like coding and stuff like in Foundry or Roll20 or whatever. But if you have the skills to make that happen, you can make some really beautiful functional sheets for a pretty slick VTT. One More Multiverse. And finally, it may be another early access VTT, but this one is definitely worth talking about. When I first saw One More Multiverse, I figured it was a fun pixel art battle map with a dice roller, which was enough for me. But what I didn't expect was one of the most robust, featureful VTTs on this list. First, this is likely the most customizable, near code-free character sheet creator I've ever encountered. The stuff you can do with it is bananas. Look, you got your main sheet, a connected HUD version, hotkey version, GM quick view version. Good lord! Second, the interactivity of the pixel art map is wild, allowing you to make walls, interactive objects, and even connect maps through portals. And all of it looks pretty dang good too. Top that with a growing market of free user-made content in sheets, a cinematic mode for theater of the mind stuff, and the super versatile character creator, and One More Multiverse is frankly more than I could have dreamed of. But it is still early access, so things are definitely still being smoothed out, and the barrier to entry can be a little tough with the learning curve. Intuitive, it is not, but in the months I've had it, they've been improving it regularly. So I love this VTT so much, even more than Foundry, despite the unbeatable functionality of Foundry. Making maps is a little too time-consuming for me, but if I had a campaign that was taking place in a more contained area, or maybe it was just all in one city, or maybe even just using Theater to the Mind, One More Multiverse is perfect, and I'll be doing an in-depth video on this one soon. Alright, there we go. That is a lot of VTTs, but of course, I'm sure there are others I forgot. And before any of you say anything, I didn't forget Astral. I had a whole section written on it, and then like the next day they announced that it was being shut down. So I'm sorry, Astral fans, it's gone. But yeah, I'm sure there are others I forgot. There always are, and I trust all of you in the comments to let me know what I missed. And let me know, which VTTs do you prefer to use? Which ones on this list are you thinking of trying out? I genuinely read all of these comments, and if you want in-depth videos on a VTT I listed here, your comments will help determine which ones I do. Even more so if you're one of my patrons! And then I do a patron song. Singing for my patrons. Singing my patron song. Look at their names. Oh, oh. You gotta get out of this booth. This wasn't bad. 35 minutes of recording. Let's see what that gets trimmed down to for the final video. My voice is so dried out. And I poured myself a cup of coffee before this. I bet that's ice cold now. Why did I do that? I literally poured the cup of coffee, came in here, and walked into the booth without it. Next video is gonna be on how to play Quest. Bye.